guys, welcome back.
Hello.
We are Cyborg Queen Media covering episode what
Four.
episode is this? Episode 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 4 of the Daryl Dixon spinoff. I am Kelly, don't say hot dogs Keen.
And I am Dawn. Don't say hot dogs, Glenn.
First time we've ever had the same
Yeah.
name.
First time we don't check with each other what we're doing, and when we came on, it was like, oops, we both picked the same one, which
Yeah,
says a lot about that line.
right? A couple of weeks ago, it was funny because there was a line when we were covering the Dexter Resurrection finale. There was a line about making sashimi out of somebody, and Jazz's name was Jazz. It was Jazz Angel Sashimi Schmanik, and my name was Kelly prefers Angel Maki. So that was kind of cute too, but I think that's
That
the
is cute.
closest we got. This
Yeah.
is the first time we've ever had the exact same one.
Yeah.
So before we start, I have to kind of give a little disclaimer here. So I am currently dealing with some really annoying health issues. Well, one in particular that's kind of seriously cramping my style. Nothing serious, but it's painful. And I basically can't. I'm right-handed, and my husband, it gets so much joy out of teasing me about how useless I am with the left side of my body doing anything. Like, I'm completely reliant on my right hand. And, doing anything with it right now hurts. It's not like it's kind of a hand issue, but it's mostly an arm issue. Um, so I can't really edit. It's like just doing anything where I'm bending my arm hurts. I can't really edit, and I'm kind of having to do the bare minimum for a while. I thought about the idea for like a split second of just taking a break entirely, but that would completely tank my mental health. So I just in order to kind of keep myself together and not just blow up our entire platform, I decided the best thing to do is just keep creating content and just unfortunately do kind of the bare minimum until things are a little better on that front. So I apologize. I usually edit our episodes quite a bit. I have a ton of brain fog that gets edited out. And I'm just hoping that you guys can all be patient with us for a bit while while I'm dealing with this because you're gonna get completely unedited episodes. Unless something completely wild happens, like a tornado rips through my town while we're in the middle of recording, then I might edit that out. But
Mm. Yeah.
other than that, just treat it like a live episode, pretty much. But we are more than halfway through the season now, which is kind of
Yes,
crazy.
it is, isn't it? Just feels
Yeah,
like it just started.
I know. I mean, we're zipping through here. It's so crazy how fast it flies by.
Mhm.
Um, And the nice thing is, like, we were kind of in a weird position for a hot minute there with, like, Dexter Resurrection, Alien Earth, and
Mhm.
Daryl Dixon. There was, like, a week overlap where we were covering all 3 of them. Um, and, after, like once this is over, we've got kind of a nice the forecast is looking pretty good where we're gonna be covering it looks like we'll be covering, like, 1 current show for the next several months, and that's it.
That's good.
Which is great. It leaves lots of room for a retrospective coverage.
Mhm.
So that's kind of awesome. Also, the other thing is, we started doing crew member shout outs, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of take a break from that because that's more work. That's hard to do. And so, what I'm planning on doing is, as soon as I'm feeling better, hopefully when the season's over, I'm just going to start maybe like posting regular stuff on social media, probably Instagram and I'm trying to use Blue Sky more because Twitter is such a hellhole. But yeah, just because I really want to keep showing appreciation for like the crew and even the lesser known cast members, like extras or people with like short, small walk on roles that have other work that we could promote for them. But yeah, so we'll save it for after the season because basically doing anything is too much work for me right now. But if you are not familiar with how we work, we typically start with a recap. We mark all of our chapters. So if you're not a recap person, no big deal. Just go to the next chapter. And then we follow that up with our MVPs, LVPs, and our top and bottom fives. And then of course, we share any kind of news that we have if we have any, but I don't think
Yes.
we have any this week, do
No, I
we?
don't think so. No, not
Yeah.
really. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We should have something next week because there's a Malaga Comic Con is this weekend, so hopefully we should
Yeah.
have something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that
Yeah.
for sure. All right. Anything you wanted to tap on before we go straight into the recap?
No, let's just dive right in.
All right. And guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be doing my best at navigating the screenshots, but
Yes.
again, like my right hand is useless. So
Gonna
please
try,
keep
Brent.
that in
You might have to just look at us, and imagine.
mind. Exactly. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it my best shot here. So
Okay.
all right, take it away, Don.
So the episode is called La Justicia Fronteriza, the frontier justice. Um, they have very, very imaginative episode titles this year. So opening up, Daryl is staring at the clock tower in Solaz town square, and he has another flashback to his childhood of him running from the trailer as an angry man shouts at him. Back to reality, Roberto is banging on Freddy's door, calling him a coward and insisting Justina would never volunteer for the ofrenda. As Antonio holds him back, and Carol and Daryl look on concerned. Freddy's men come out, and I keep calling them Freddy's men, and there's one in particular. I'm like, he's in this episode a lot, and I don't know if he has a name or not. If he has a name, I wish I knew it because I
Yeah, I
forget to
know. I
call him
kind
by
of
his
called him
name.
the guy.
Yeah, the guy, the dude.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah, it's a shame we don't know who he is. Anyway, speaking of actors with smaller roles, uh, Daryl warns Carol, "This isn't our fight." And Roberto shouts at Daryl and Carol, blaming them, and he storms off. Because he says they would have been away and left if it wasn't for Daryl and Carol turning up and forcing them to come back to the home. In his home, Freddy is watching this. He seems troubled and he looks at a photo of young Justina with her father. Donna Marga enters and says he promised them he would look after her, and he has. We both did, which implies whatever Freddy does is done with her blessing. At Antonio's house, Daryl asks Carol if they'll ever stop moving, and she says, "Sure, as soon as we make it back," which is an interesting thing that I think might be significant. But we'll just remember that sentence anyway. Antonio asks how long till they leave. Daryl says maybe a week. Antonio's disappointed. Oh, and Carol's uncomfortable look makes Daryl look between them suspiciously. Daryl leaves. Carol apologizes for the trouble they have caused and asks why Antonio doesn't want Roberto and Justina together. He says he can't explain. It's just not good. And Carol says, "Where we come from, we call that complicated." Um, Daryl tries to get Roberto to come with them to fix the boat, but Roberto says it's all pointless now. He can't live without Justina, and they all look on awkwardly. It is very much very teen angsty. At the beach,
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I was expecting a Taylor Swift song to like happen.
that's very much Taylor Swift. It's going to start singing Love Story. At the beach, Valentina, her men, Carol, and Daryl get the boat upright and begin working on the hull. A young American man, Cooper, shows Daryl how to tie knots, whilst Valentina shows Carol how to use a sextant. Antonio and Roberto are fixing a fence at home, though Roberto thinks it's pointless. The boards will break back in again, and Antonio says, "You must accept the things you can't change." Roberto asks why he can't accept him and Justina. And he says it's just some old pointless grudge between Antonio and Fede, which nobody remembers except them. And Roberto says maybe there's a better life out there somewhere. Antonio begs his son not to do anything foolish. That's a that's a pointless quest, that one. The rudder goes on successfully onto the boat. Carol and Daryl are working on the hull. Carol blames herself for Justina being gone. Daryl tells her to stop. Carol, speaking for all of us, says, "Don't say hot dogs." Daryl says, "We're finally going home. You have to let that shit go." But Carol talks about Roberto and Justina's innocence and love that was like a mirage and a endangered thing in this fucked up world. She gets her second fuck! Well, verbally anyway. And
Yay.
she says she wants to root for them, and Daryl says it's a mistake. It's the same mistake. They always make the same mistake he made in France, getting involved. We're always fighting. Everyone's fighting. Sometimes we have to fight for ourselves. Carol says, well, of all things, isn't two young people wanting to be together worth fighting for? When Carol doesn't answer, she asks, how can you not care? Daryl gets annoyed. What makes you think I don't care? Justina's gone. There's nothing we can do about it. And he says, hell, none of them are coming back. He hurts himself in some way, swears, and walks off. Sometime later, Valentina is cooking fish and Carol's working on her maps. She says she thinks she's got the hang of it, but Daryl walks off sulking to brood on the rocks. Carol watches him go. Valentina and Carol talk, with Valentina talking about living alone for 10 years in the lighthouse. We see Valentina's two friends and then Daryl, shot of both of them. Valentina says the world is hard, no reason not to have companionship. Of course, you understand that, Carol, indicating Daryl standing on the rocks. Daryl obviously senses they're talking about him and looks back at them. The next day on the beach, Daryl is learning knots and Valentina calls to him. She says Cooper knows a lot about sailing and could use an experienced hand if Roberto's not coming. But Daryl says, nah, we'll be fine. And the Carlers, we all need to just hold hands through this scene, okay? We'll get through it. Valentina Valentina thinks it's hard even for proficient sailors to cross the Atlantic, and Carol asks Valentina to join them. With Cooper, they would have a full crew. Valentina says, no, but take Cooper anyway. When Daryl says no again, Valentina says, your boyfriend sure doesn't like taking advice. Carol stammers, no, it's not, no, we're not. Valentina is surprised and not convinced, really. Carol really says, Carol, you've never, says Carol. Nope, says Daryl and walks away. Okay, well, we've got through it. We'll talk about it later. As Valentina says, think about it. She walks away, and Carol looks between Daryl and Valentina, bemused. Uh, Daryl's face when he says nope. I do love
Yeah.
that. Good screen cap. Nope.
Yeah.
Even though it's a deeply traumatic scene, it still made me laugh.
I know, me too. That's hilarious.
Yes. So then Fede shows up at Antonio's homestead. He apologizes to Roberto that Justina is gone and insists he tried to stop her but couldn't. Roberto says, we made a vow to each other. Why would she break it? Antonio returns and looks warningly at Fede, who is, we see a moment of temper with him. But he calms down and says, everyone has secrets we may never know, and leaves. Very dropping subtle hints that there is some secret that Roberto doesn't know. Cooper, back at the beach, Cooper tells Daryl he's honoured that he's letting him come with them. And as he is unfurling the sail, of course, it's always the same in the Walking Dead world. As soon as he's happy, an arrow flies through the air and kills him. More arrows fly as the Primitivos in the masks charge the beach. Daryl grabs a hammer and kills one. Valentina saves Daryl from a shot, and then he saves her. Carol and Valentina's two friends shoot the rest. Valentina looks for Cooper, and sadly, he has turned. Daryl goes and puts down Cooper, while Valentina and Carol look on sadly. On the walls of Solaz, Paz looks at a photo of herself and Elena. She sees cars and trucks full of Primitivos arriving and sounds the alarm. The gates are closed and Fede hands out weapons to all who can fight. At the beach, They all can hear the bell, and Valentina says Salaz is under attack. Carol and Daryl walk back to Salaz. Carol's taking the bow and arrow of one of the Primitivos. Daryl tells her not to do anything when we stupid there, but of course Carol says she was not making any promises. We check on Roberto and Antonio, then we leave. However, they hide as a mysterious vehicle passes. The fight begins at Salaz with Roberto and Antonio on the walls. The wall walkers are released and take out a few raiders. Daryl and Carol get stuck in from the back, and then a jeep ram raids the gates and the raiders flood in. Paz fights alongside Daryl and Carol, who takes in a few in an Indiana-style pistol moment. The big fellow from the gate, again, he has a name, and we do get his name, but I've forgotten it, unfortunately. He struggles to deal with his walkered nephew, Alonso, but Carol saves him. Daryl and Paz split from Carol. Roberto chases some back to his house, and Paz follows to help him. A really impressive fight with Paz. I could not screen grab it because it all goes so quickly. She's using her whip and throws, I think she throws scissors at somebody. But eventually, Roberto pushes one of them out of the window, impressing Paz. In the street, Carol fights with the townspeople, and Fede is stabbed in the shoulder. Back at Antonio's, they have killed the last of the Primitivos and load up on ammo, ready to go back, while Alberto says he's going to check on Alba and her mother. Carol heads Fede towards his house, but she's out of ammo. The Primitivo running towards them is killed by Donna Marga from the balcony. Night has fallen, and Paz, Antonio, and Daryl walk the empty streets, suspicious of the quiet. Roberto, up on the walls, sees something in the distance. It's a catapult. Firing flaming balls of walkers into the town. Paz, Antonio, and Daryl join her, and Carol quips, "Quick mission, huh?" Fede calls to Antonio, "Release the ballista." Antonio tells Carol to come with him. Carol, now up on the balcony, throws a machine gun to Daryl. Fede mans a Gatling gun, and Antonio the ballista from the balconies, subduing the last of the raiders. Screaming in the distance makes Paz and Daryl run down the streets. Fede says to clear up the square, take their dead to the cemetery, and put the raiders on the walls as a warning to their friends. Roberto exclaims, "Is this what we give our girls away for?" Fede says this is unprecedented, and it proves we need El Alcazar more than ever. He says the weapons from El Alcazar is what saved us. Paz and Daryl return, having caught a Primitivo. They tie him up and interrogate him without much result. He says, "You serve El Alcazar, we serve no one." Carol and Daryl ask why are they trying to destroy the town. In English, the Primitivo says, "To burn it all down." Who knows why. So someone comes in to say someone is escaping in a car. Daryl hops on a motorbike and rides down to the town entrance where here and Fede's guard hold guns on the approaching car. Daryl realizes it's Roberto and calls out, but Fede's men still aim to shoot. So Daryl stops him. The guard tells Fede angrily what happened and blames Daryl, insisting he was only going to shoot out the tires. Carol and Antonio approach, and Fede says, "Now we have to find someone to go after him. Who can we send when we need everyone?" Antonio says he will go. Fede mocks Antonio, who's never left the village, so Carol says she'll go with him and look after him. At Antonio's, he and Carol pack up. Antonio assures her she doesn't have to, and she says, "No, your child is missing." He asks if she has children, and she says, "Not anymore." Well done, Carol. Very healthy answer. They go outside where Daryl is sitting grumpily in the square. Carol tells him, "What's on your mind?" And he says, "We should just let Roberto go." "You're going to let him go with Justina. What's the difference?" Carol says, "Well, at least they were together." Daryl says Roberto won't stop. If nothing changes, they'll bring him back and he'll just leave again. Again, this is a key phrase. Remember what that. Carol is surprised he's only Roberto's champion, and Daryl says, "Well, he's old enough to make his own mind." Yeah. Carol says, "Okay, well, we'll see you later, Daryl." And 3, 2, 1, Daryl goes with her. I love the entire. He's like, "Oh, okay, I'm going. If you're going, I'm going." And he gets on the bike to follow Antonio's truck. In the woods, we see Justina at Guillermo's camp. She goes to pet the horse and sees a figure in the distance. In the square, the people want to kill the Primitivo, but Freddy says killing doesn't justify killing. He'll be punished in a way his friends can see. So they chain him to some of his walker friends and release them. On the road, Carol, Daryl, and Antonio find tracks, eventually coming across the jeep, upturned and empty. Carol finds Justina's necklace, telling them the pair were together. Flashes show Justina being dragged away by Guillermo's men, but where is Roberto? And that's that.
All right. Let me get that off my screen.
That felt
Okay.
very long. I don't know why. I think there was a lot of talking in this one that needed to be said, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think this was my least favorite episode.
Okay, I enjoyed this more than last week's.
That seems to be the general consensus from
Yeah.
people that I've heard that get the episodes ahead.
I think because there was more to it, there was more Daryl and Carol interaction, there was more forward movement, you know, with Valentina and the boat and the action at the thing. A lot of people love the big action scenes, but I don't. I know
Right.
you're not keen on them either. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's what's interesting though is this episode really hit home for me. I mean, obviously, like as somebody who talks about TV shows, who covers them, and whose job it is to overanalyze these things, and look at all of the aspects of it. I obviously I'm aware how important uh, music is, how important the
mm,
score is to a show, but this is like I've never felt that more than I have in this episode
mm,
because as far as like things like the direction and the score and everything that contributes
yeah,
to how a scene plays out, because the initial action sequence, like before the ballistas and the fireballs,
yeah,
and before all that, there's all this action going on, and I was bored out of my mind.
yeah,
Because I'm like, I don't care about these people.
yeah, yeah.
And but then, of course I my investment peaks a bit once Carol and Daryl
Yes,
get
come
there.
on. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But what what really kind of reminded me of just how important all that stuff is that it wasn't just Carol and Daryl coming back. The fireballs and the ballistas were super cool.
Yeah,
I liked that. Like I
yeah,
love creative stuff like that.
yes, yeah, me
Um,
too.
but there's stuff like that is so interesting because I don't care about these people. But
Hmm.
when you have the score, like playing the sad music in the background, and you see the aftermath,
Yeah.
that's when it grabs you.
Yes, yes, I'm with you totally. And for me, it was when I think his name is Gustavo or something, the guy on the doors, the gates, when it was his nephew. That works for me because I understood he's got a connection to this man who's killed right in front of him, in his
Yeah,
turn. That made me feel something. Whereas when you're just seeing, yeah, you don't feel
yeah,
anything because, like you say, you don't know these people. You don't care.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
no, the fireballs and ballistas were super
Oh,
cool. I love
yeah,
all that
yeah.
shit.
That was all good. Although I'm like, are we changing the rules about fire? How long does that walker have to be on fire before it kills it?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. It was kind of just stretching our
yeah.
suspension of disbelief there.
It's the same as the heads on spikes that are, there was a close up of one in this episode on the front of one of the vehicles of the Primitivos, and I'm like, so you can put a spike in its head as long as it's not what way? Is it not that way? Not that way? Not that way? It's got to be sort of through the chin, and what are we avoiding is the brain stem.
Right? Like, if The Walking Dead is good for anything, it's inconsistency with the walkers.
Yes.
I mean, look at season 2,
Mhm.
like, when they came to, that big pileup on the expressway,
Yeah.
and they explained that all the walkers were dead already that were in the cars because
Yes.
their brains cooked in the sun.
Yeah. Yes. Why have they not all turned to walkers? Because go on, somebody come up with a reason quick.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, man.
It's I don't know, the American series Ghost, which is based on a British series called Ghosts. And I did a panel with them at the Edinburgh TV Festival, and I asked them, "Did you come up with a Bible of what the ghosts can and can't do? Like the ghost can walk through walls, but they can sit on a sofa, these kind of things." And they were like, "No, we didn't. We really should have." And I'm like, "Yes, if you're going to come up with something supernatural, create your rules at the start. Otherwise, you have these problems."
So funny. This makes me think, like, with all the shows that we cover, I would love to take a look at with we haven't started our Buffy coverage yet, but with Buffy
Hmm.
having so many seasons,
Hmm.
I'm sure there's gotta be, like, one major thing that they're inconsistent about.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah.
And I would love to take a look at that through all the shows that we cover, like, what's the one major thing that the show can't stop being inconsistent about?
Yes.
With Dexter, it's Harry's code, and with this, it's walkers. It's
Hmm.
I don't know what it would be for Yellow Jackets, I have no
No,
idea.
I'm not sure.
But, because I think anything goes on that show. But, but yeah, it's just it's hilarious. It's like
Yeah.
these shows they put so much work into, like, getting the setting right and the music and everything, but there's always just that one thing
Yeah.
that we're constantly having to suspend our disbelief on.
Yes, we're just like, just do some magic hand weaving over this bit of the plot. You didn't notice it. Move
Yeah.
on.
Which I'm not entirely sure isn't a bad thing
No.
because, like, it kind of allows you to be more creative.
Yes, I understand that, especially a show that has gone on as long as this.
Yeah.
You have to bend the rules to be able to be different and imaginative and just not do the same thing over and over again. And that's why they decided to bring in the Walker variants, which I was absolutely fine with. That's good. Make it more dangerous again, because we're always saying we want the fear from the Walkers back. We don't want it just to be, "Oh, humans are bad." We want that visceral fear that we got. I remember in season 2 that scene where they're all hiding and the first herd we ever see walks down the motorway. That terrified me at the time. Now I'm like, it's a herd, So they
Yeah.
have to do something to make it better, and more, and bring us that feeling of fear again. And so I understand that they have to break the rules a bit, but it makes me laugh because I'm so obsessed with continuity. So
Yeah, just to use a quick example, and I'm sorry for rambling on about this too much, but just using that, what I referred to as the death horde
mhm.
in the first episode, that probably Carol, but Daryl absolutely should have
Yes,
died, like, almost
yes,
immediately into it. Um, it's it certainly made that slightly more exciting than a
mhm.
typical scene with walkers, but at the same time, the unlikelihood of him surviving that kinda took away from it.
Yes. It takes you out of it because you're going, oh, come on,
Yeah.
like Rick and the hand grenade and the ones who live, like that. That was a moment which should have been fantastic and exciting, but I was just going, oh, really?
Rick's I did not know that Rick's head was entirely made of titanium. Like, who knew? Who knew that,
Yeah,
that his head could get blown up and just
try
immediately put itself back
go
together?
back. Rick is in fact Terminator 2. Uh,
Yeah.
yes, sometimes it can take you out. It's a fine line of getting it exciting and new, but also not making it unbelievable. And don't get me started on Glenn Stumpster death, because I'll rant for that for a full hour, and we'll have
Oh,
nobody left.
yeah. By the way, just to interject, uh, eh, Nicholas, who, one of the most hated characters,
Yes.
Michael Traynor, the actor, one of the kindest, sweetest people I've ever met in my
Oh,
life.
that's so good to
Seriously.
know. Yeah.
One of like, out of all of the Walking Dead cast members that I've had the pleasure to meet, or, like,
Hmm.
out of all the cast members in general that I've either met or talked to, for interviews, he is one of the kindest human beings.
Oh,
He's
that's
just
lovely.
one of my favorites. Such a good
Hmm.
egg.
Yeah. Often find that, don't you? The ones that are playing the worst people are often the nicest.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's get into our
Okay.
MVPs and
Yeah.
LVPs.
So my suspenders award this week goes to the winner of the suspenders. It's Daryl for being a whiny boy.
Yeah,
I understand he's dealing with trauma, but we all are, Daryl.
yeah,
And it's especially when, like, after Carol turned up in season 2, and the way he talked to Carol in season 2 when she was like, "Oh, you've got a whole new family, and you're in love, and you're allegedly, and you're never coming home again." Okay, that's fine. And now he wants to go home. He's all, "Come on, Carol, come home. We're going home," and he's annoyed her, and you're like, "Dude, 5 minutes ago you were the one that was staying, so none of that."
yeah. He's completely right back to season 1,
Yeah.
where he was just like every time he popped in somewhere new, it was like, where you guys have a phone? Where's your phone? Where I need to use
Yeah.
your phone.
You got a radio? You got a radio? Anybody got
Yeah.
a radio? Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I understand his point of view, but it's galling when we know where we came from last season. Um, and yeah, and also the way he went, "Nope,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die on that one." It was too much like the whole idea was hilarious and ridiculous, and I didn't like that. I think he was just going, "No, what are you talking about? Get lost," But no, I didn't enjoy that. But I will say, and I said this on Twitter, Norman Reedus slash Daryl looked beautiful in this episode. I don't know what it was. The
Yeah.
lighting, the shots of him were stunning. The shot when he's looking out to the water, the shot when he's looking up at the clock tower. Even there, like, he looks so good. Like, well done. Wait, who's
Yeah.
cinematographer, lighting? I don't know what it is, but that one as well. Like,
Yeah.
really particularly attractive. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I noticed that too. I
Yeah.
noticed that too. Really, really good. But you know what though? Norman Reedus has always been like the number one thing that he excels in, other than um, his chemistry with
Hmm.
Melissa. The number one thing that he's always had going for him is the man is an incredible face actor.
Yes. Yes, he is. Yeah, and he
Like,
has to do a lot of it because they don't give him words.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he is so expressive. I
Hmm.
mean, like, the I think the one thing that the I know that there may be even some that I'd place higher than this, but the one that comes to mind immediately for me is it season 7? I think it was season 7, when he was in the cell at the sanctuary.
Oh yes, yeah, that was season 7. Yeah,
And they were playing Easy Street over and over again, and,
yeah.
like, he like, they threw the picture Dwight threw the picture of Glenn in there, and he's just like, I mean, he wasn't even crying, he was just, like, so emotionally and physically drained,
Hmm.
but the look on his face, it was just like, oh my god, you could almost feel the
Yeah.
torment he was going through.
I thought you were going to say what mine is when he finds Carol at the cabin in season
Oh
7, and
god,
he opens the
yes.
door, and his face is like a puppy who's been kicked repeatedly. Like, "Why did you leave me?" And his face expresses that so beautifully. And a lot of people I know, I mean, it is a very Carol-y scene, but to me, it's heartbreaking because
Yeah.
he's so hurt by her because she left him, and it's like, oh, little little wooden puppy. That's what he says about Laurent, but in this case, it definitely was. Daryl was very little puppyish. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for me, it was all about his line delivery in that scene.
yeah,
Like, it was I always say there are 2 lines that and obviously, like, you guys watching or listening to this know that we adore Carol and Daryl.
yeah.
The 2 line deliveries that always reduce me to tears every single time are "Why'd you go?" And it was just the way his voice cracks in it,
Yeah.
and then Carol's "She killed my boy." the
Yeah.
way that she says that. It's just like, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
devastating. Ugh.
Oh, we're
But
in our feels today.
I know we really are. What the hell?
Sorry for not our usual vicious self. Don't know what's
Yikes.
going on.
Um, so
Yeah,
Daryl
so
was your
he
Daryl
was
gets your
my, yes, suspender. Who's your suspender award getter?
um, I had a hard time with this because I felt like it could go to a lot of people.
Yeah, I struggled as
Um,
well.
but I'm gonna surprisingly, and I know everybody is going to disagree with me on this, but I'm actually giving it to Roberto because even though he had so many, like, even though he actually had a lot of MVP moments in this,
Yes, he did. Yeah,
um, one thing that just like drove me nuts was him saying that Antonio has some grudge against Fede. Like grudge. You mean like human trafficking? Like like
yeah.
that line just bothered me so much. I'm sorry.
I
It
think one of the problems is they're not fully explaining that because they kind of brushed over this human trafficking in terms of Fede and Antonio both being part of it in the sense of Antonio was part of the town, so he's doing it. But it's like there's some other big secret, that's going on, and it's not clear what it is. So it's like Roberto is being very much a teenage boy, as I said in this episode, because he's like trying to needle at his father and be like, and when he mocks him basically for like, you've given up just because you never want to leave this village, and of course Freddy does it as well. Um, so I just feel he is very much. I was tempted to put Roberto but I thought I did that already this season for him being a whiny boy. So I didn't. But yeah, that face he makes in that screen cap when he's like, hump. And I mean, it's all praise to Hugo, the actor, because he's obviously a very smiley guy in real life, so he does it very well.
yeah.
That like, hate
Yeah.
you, Dad. You.
Absolutely. By the way, uh I could have done this another time, but I can't justify giving a full-on suspenders award for this, so I'm just gonna give
Okay.
an honorable mention. It has to come up at some point. I'm giving an honorable mention since I just had this pickup
Yeah.
to Eduardo Noriega
Hmm.
is such a good-looking man. Why? Why do they have to do this to him? Like,
I
his
I will
hair.
I will say from photos that I've seen from filming, they seem to have stopped doing whatever it is they're doing to him because it looks like he's got his natural hair in season 4. Like, why did they do this to
Right?
his hair?
My guess is that it's probably, like, a character thing, him
Yeah,
trying to cover up, the burns on his
yeah,
face.
yeah, could be. And he's maybe meant to just look much more disheveled, like he doesn't care about himself because he's
Yeah,
past caring. I guess that's probably it. But yeah, he is.
but
That's
yeah,
why I said on Twitter, Antonio, no thanks. Eduardo, yes, please.
yes. Yeah, I mean, he is absolutely gorgeous,
Yes.
and I just he's a broccoli boy. He's a 52-year-old broccoli boy. That's the only way I can put it. What and you know what? And Fede too. I mean, like, uh, uh, Oscar Hinata
Yeah.
is a good-looking man, and his hair issue is a bit less severe
Yeah.
than Antonio's, but I die a little inside every time I see a man bun. I don't know. Offense to any male
No,
listeners who wear your hair like that. I'm sorry if you take offense to that. I'm not trying
I
to be mean, but
I personally love a hair bun, a man's hair bun. So
do you?
I'll defend the man buns.
All right. Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
personal thing,
Yes,
but
exactly. It's taste.
so
Um.
who gets your angel wings this week?
Okay, this is going to be really controversial. I know I say that every time. but I'm giving them to Valentina. Even though I suspect people may turn on her, she asked the question nobody has asked for 15 years. So
Yes.
well done, you. Also, she has managed to escape the curse of you must dress as if it's 1880s. So well done her. She's kept her 20th century clothes. But yes, asking Daryl and Carol what the nature of their relationship is, and then being surprised they haven't done it. Praise Jesus! I have been waiting for that for so long. It's such a trope in any ship. And it normally leads to something good. This didn't lead to brilliant stuff, I'll be honest. But I'm still glad it was brought up because it when you ask that of characters, it gives them that moment to clarify what it is or what it isn't. Um, it could have been far, far worse. They could have said, he's like a brother to me, or however we got Carol stumbling, no, what, and the interesting looks at the end. So I'm so delighted that Valentina is really nosy and sticks her nose in other people's business,
Yes.
because it's what I would do as well. Well, I'm not very good at asking it, but I would definitely be thinking it. I'd be like, what's the deal with that? What's going on there? So
Right.
I'm with Valentina and her sex crazed this. Good for you, Valentina.
Yeah, yeah. She's a very likable character
Yes, yes.
too. I'm really enjoying her. She's got like she'd be a fun person
Oh
to
yes,
spend the apocalypse with.
definitely. Yeah. Also, drop your skincare routine, Queen, because that skin.
Yeah, seriously. Please. Please. Look, like, she's got gray hair and doesn't and obviously doesn't look like somebody who just went prematurely gray super
No,
early,
no.
but my god, man, look at her skin.
She's glowing.
Yes, she is glowing. She
Yeah,
is drop dead gorgeous. My
yes.
god, woman, what is your secret? Tell us, please. Um, my suspenders award was actually kinda or my suspenders, my angel wings award. Tells you guys brain fog, usually edit all this shit out. Um, my my Angel Wings award is, yeah, like you said, you always feel like yours are controversial, and I feel
Hmm.
like I feel like mine always are too. Um, but I'm actually gonna go with I'm kinda torn, actually. I keep going back and forth. I wrote down Roberto, and then I changed it even though he's my LVP too.
You can beat both.
Um,
Yes.
but I had Roberto, and then I changed it to Daryl, and then I changed it back to Roberto, and I can't decide now because, um, I just the honestly, my reasoning for Roberto is kind of shallow because it's not so much that that he left at the end to go look for Justina, which was really brave
Hmm.
and, and admirable. It wasn't you're gonna laugh. It's for the silliest reason. I just could not get enough of the way he hurled that guy off the balcony.
He did get the best kill of the episode, I think.
Yes. It was just so casual.
Yeah.
It's like
And even Paz is like, okay, good.
yeah. It's like, "Got anyone else you need me to toss over here?" It was just I loved it. I as soon as I saw it, I had to watch it again immediately because
Yes.
it was very entertaining.
But
Um,
he was definitely doing some heroic leading man kind of stuff through this episode for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
going after his girl. We've got to support that. That's and saying I think he said it in pretty much the same different words but the same sentiment, that nothing is good without her. And now he's like, well, what's the point? Nothing. There's no point in anything without her. And that's as a shipper, I love to see that.
yeah, yeah. I do too, and I don't even want to say more because I'm just gonna start getting into shippy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my reason for wanting to give so that was my reason for wanting to give
Mhm.
Roberto the angel wings. My reason for wanting to give it to Daryl, like Carol is basically the one this whole season who's like who wants to do the right thing, and so it's so easy to give that to.
Yeah.
She's almost a default at this point for like somebody who could possibly get it every week, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because she's wanting to help everybody. Yeah.
But my with Daryl, I think it's just because I think I'm giving him a lot of grace this season because he was so intolerable last season.
Yes.
And I like that he's still being stubborn and disagreeable, but he's like he's kind of easy to persuade, you know?
Yes, yeah. It's like that meme, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'll handle it. I just want to be dramatic first. That's
Yeah.
that's Daryl. He just has to have a, a moan about it. But yes, I will help everybody. I'm just going to have a whine first that I don't want to, but I
Yeah,
will.
and, you know, and the fact that he was like, "All right, if Carol's going, I'm going."
Yeah,
You know, like, he had to I mean, because that's the whole thing, he's not outright saying it, but, I mean, he's not gonna take the chance that she's gonna die outside the walls somewhere, and he's not gonna be there.
yes,
So,
exactly. So that
um,
yeah, we like that.
yeah, so it's very much a protective thing, and I love that he's not, like, bitching about it too much, you know?
No,
He's
no.
just going along with it. So I don't know, I felt like it shows a little bit of growth for him,
Yeah.
over llast season. But, should we go to our
Yes. So
bottoms?
we'll go to our bottoms. Yes. So this is my fifth worst is outside the show in the sense of it's the ratio to Daryl and Carol swearing. Carol got her second F bomb of the season here. Daryl has had about 20. He has like 5 in this one episode alone. Let Carol swear the same amount as Daryl.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she get to swear every other word like Daryl does? Um, it's sexism pure and simple. They don't like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and it still bothers me actually. It wasn't sexism in this case, but it still bothers me that we had a character like Negan in the original series, and we got what, like 3 F-bombs from
Yeah.
Daryl? He's the
Yeah.
only one who ever dropped an F-bomb in the show, and he had like 3 of them.
Yeah. I think Rick had one, but then they changed the sound, so it
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which oh god, don't even get me started on that because I that I think I ranted about think I spent the whole hiatus in between seasons ranting about just how horrible that sounded.
Yeah.
Screwing with the wrong people.
Yeah.
No. I actually laughed when he said it.
Yes. I watches his mouth say something different than the sound
Yeah.
that comes out of it. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
this
god.
is it's a simple one, but that's my fifth. What's your fifth worst?
My my 5th, I'm really not gonna go into detail because I just did. But, yeah, Roberto's line about Antonio having some grudge
Yeah.
against Fede. It's just like, yeah, I get it. There's a lot that's unexplained there, and he's hinting that it's not really about, like that it has nothing to do with
Hmm.
trafficking or anything like that, but it just comes off weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like it. It bugged me. It annoyed me.
Okay, my number four is poor Cooper. We barely knew you, man. I loved that he. Oh, we've got a new character. He's fun. He's interacting with Daryl. Oh, he's dead. Uh,
Yep.
it's
Daryl
another.
Dixon Death's curse.
Yep, it's another Julian. He was so excited to go home to California to Monterey Bay, and he was dead seconds later. And I was just like, "Ah, never mind."
Yes.
I'm just sad that it always happens, and I know you have to kill people off to show the jeopardy, but you could have just ended him really badly. It wouldn't have changed the plot any really, and because he couldn't. Anyway, I won't go into the
Yeah.
future, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't like that either.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is I really need all TV shows to ditch the rabbit and the fox not tying thing. I both that and there's no word for a parent who loses a child. Those 2
Oh, yeah.
things I need
Yes.
every TV show to stop putting into their scripts,
Yeah.
please. I'm it oh my god. And it just it annoys me, the rabbit not tying thing annoys me because it's come up, like, I I don't know how many times in Dexter,
Uh-huh.
um, and it's just the last time when it came up in Dexter Resurrection, it was actually a really cool scene because Dexter was trying to teach his son how to tie a tie correctly,
All right. Okay.
and
Yeah.
he's like, "Let me show you a trick that your grandfather taught me." And they're looking in the mirror,
Hmm.
and he's shown him, and then he's kind of like, there's Harrison standing in front, and then Dexter's kind of behind him and off to the side a little bit, and then you see Harry, Dexter's dad, like, standing right
Oh,
behind them,
behind
and
him.
so
Yeah.
that was actually cool. That was a really cool scene, it was a great visual, but,
Yeah.
but it God, it's so overused. I just cringe every time I hear it. I cringe a little harder at no word for a parent that loses a
Yeah.
child because
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah. That's
it
been
it
done a
yeah,
lot.
that's not smart.
Maybe we should just come up with one and then we can stop it appearing in shows. Let's come
Brilliant.
up with a word.
Brilliant. I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm
We'll do
going
that.
to, yeah, let's think of one and then send it and
We'll
then
send it to
email,
the
like
Oxford English Dictionary and we'll get it put in and it'll be problem solved.
exactly. And then once it's published in the Oxford English Dictionary, we'll send it off to all the showrunners of every
Yep.
single TV show. Um, and it'll
And
never
you
come
can
up
thank
again.
us later. Oh dear.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my third worst is the interrogation scene. What was the point of that?
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at all. I didn't. We learned nothing. All he said was, "Oh, I don't serve anyone." Well, they're come across as just readers, you know. So I don't understand why that was at all. And they had
I
so
know.
many people in the room, and I was like, "Oh, here we go. We're going to get something." No, pointless. So I don't know why, but and it's difficult when we have seen the rest of the season to we don't want to give spoilers away about when you will see these people again or if you will see them again and what happens, but as it stands right now, learned nothing, don't know why we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is, where did I get it? Oh, yeah, Daryl telling Carol not to do anything stupid when they get back. What, you mean, like, killing somebody within the walls?
And then just throwing them over so they're still, you can see their body just there.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely the one that needs to be saying that, Daryl, yes, because Carol's the one that's gonna do something stupid.
Yes, exactly. There was a lot of a lot of that kind of thing. It was like last week with Daryl, going, "Oh, this is your boat captain, Daryl. Have you forgotten everything that's happened before this moment? Do you have amnesia?" Admittedly, he's been hit on the head a lot, so it would make sense if he does have amnesia. But
Yeah.
he does seem to have a short memory, which is
Yeah.
funnily enough what my number 2 is Daryl's short memory. It's basically what we've said already, that Daryl is constantly going, "Come on, we're leaving. No, we're leaving." And I just remember season 2, and it became really hard to leave. And now, even though I never stopped trying to get back to you, but it became harder because, and I'm just like, Daryl, decide what you want with your life. Do you
Yeah.
want to go? Do you want to stay? And stop taking it out on Carol either way.
right?
Yeah. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Fede stating that immediately after the in the immediate aftermath of the attack, Fede stating that their alliance with El Alcazar is more important than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, cool, you got some cool weapons, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, really?
Yes, exactly. Is that worth it? Is exactly what Roberta was saying. Is this worth losing one of our girls a year? Is this what it's worth? And all the medication they're getting must be seriously out of date by now because it's been like 13, 14 years about now. So I'm
It
not
it
convinced.
it honestly just felt like Gregory and Negan all over again.
Yeah. Yes,
Like,
it does. That whole thing is
that's
very Negan again. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Without the charismatic side of Negan.
yeah.
At least Negan has charisma.
And, like,
Um,
I'm saying Gregory and not Ezekiel because they were kind of, I see Fede as being more like Gregory, and that, like,
mm,
Ezekiel he was more, I don't wanna say cowardly, but, I mean, that's kind of how he came off.
yeah, yeah,
Mm. But it was coward it's hard, I don't know how to say this the right way, but almost like cowardice coming from an altruistic place,
yeah.
kind of coming from a good
He didn't
place.
want to do it, but he felt forced into the circumstance of doing it, and he couldn't
Yeah.
stand up and say no, we're not doing this. Yeah,
I mean, he was deeply worried about his people.
yeah,
Um, and everything that he did was to try to protect them the
yeah,
best way that he could. Whereas Gregory was just a spineless coward.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's kind of how, like, Fede just had major Gregory vibes in this episode.
Well, now we
Ugh.
know, he's been protecting his own niece from, when Justina found the ribbon. So, um, he's protecting her, but not protecting any of the others. So
Right.
that's not good. That's bad
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
So my number 1 is Antonio. Just Antonio. No. Is he's doing in this episode he does a lot of standing around. Now obviously he does say I'll go after Roberto, but a lot of the writing of Antonio is just him standing around being sad and shy and just come on, want to put, as they say, put a cracker up his bum. Come on, hurry
Yes.
up. Just to I just find him frustrating to watch that he's just standing there and not saying clearly what he really wants to say to his son, to Fede especially. And I understand that that's got to build up, and it's his arc. There was an interview with Eduardo this week where he was talking about Carol is changing Antonio slowly with her influence, and that's going to keep happening over a longer period. But I just want it to happen now, and I'm he's a wonderful actor, but I'm just fed up of him standing looking sad in the background of a scene.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I feel like he's just, I don't know. He just kind of comes off as a little, like, wishy-washy,
yeah,
and
that's a good phrase.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
I don't,
don't I don't think I understand what we're meant to feel about him. I
same.
think
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
I
perfect
think
way of
it's
saying it.
a really mixed message, and I'm not sure what it is, who he is, he's meant to be. I've not got. They haven't given us a really clear cut shape of who he is as a person, and that's a shame because, as I say, he's a great actor and very handsome in real life, as we've established. But yeah, I don't think they're doing Antonio justice. I don't think they're making him, because he is essentially the third lead here. After Carl and Daryl, he's the lead, and I just don't think they're giving him enough of a personality to fill that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your number one?
So my number one was my original Suspenders Award,
Ah, okay.
but I feel like I try to avoid going too obvious with the Suspender and Angel Wings Award. I try to make them
Mhm.
kind of a little more like unexpected. So I just figured I would make it just my number one miss. And that is just Fede. Okay, yeah, I talked about Fede like with the LL Star thing, but
Mhm.
this dude, yeah, I think he has a name, but I forgot it. Like, tries to shoot Roberto.
Oh
And
yes, yeah. We don't know his name.
yeah, and Fede knew about it.
Yeah,
Like, Fede wanted him to take care of it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is you're the leader. Why are you trading girls for weapons when you're killing your own people? When you're trying to kill
yeah,
your own people? Like,
yeah,
I hate this man.
yeah. And it's not at all clear why he doesn't want Roberto to be with Justina,
Yeah,
because why this isn't the trading of the girls. Perhaps there's an implication of it, but there is no on-screen talk about their innocence or their virtue. That there's nothing like that. So I don't understand why Fede doesn't want Roberto to be with Justina, just because he doesn't like him, doesn't think he's good enough because of Antonio. It's
yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not
it
super
made
clear.
sense to a certain point until last week's episode
Yeah,
when we saw that, when we saw all of Justina's ribbons in the
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get
No,
it.
no.
His character just doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. He just it's like he seems like he's power hungry,
Mm.
but but we're supposed to think I think we're supposed to think that he's trying to do good by
Yeah,
people
yeah,
and protect them, but he's not.
no.
Like,
And,
I
and
just
this is the thing. I've seen a lot of people online say Freddie's great. He's a good guy, and I'm like, is
whoa.
he? Is he? Can't see letting
Whoa.
the daughters be treated. So yeah, I think some
Okay.
of the general audience are seeing it that way. Are just going, well, he's doing what's best for everybody, and it's a small price to pay, and people think that. Um, much to my sadness. But I think that you're right. I think they're sort of writing him so that people can look past that and think, no, he's a good guy who is trying to do the best for his town. But we see here, no, he's willing to kill Roberto. So
Yeah.
no, he's
Yeah.
not.
No, he's not at all.
No.
He's not. That's a huge misread.
Yeah.
I hopefully they'll change their minds after this episode.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the cheerier. Let's get on to our best bits. So my number five, I probably should have put it up higher, but I want to talk about it anyway. Is Roberto is Daryl. Daryl is Roberto. Roberto is Daryl. They're very clear in these two scenes where Roberto says, "What's the point? Without Justina, everything's awful. I might as well just be dead." And that, to me, that is how we felt Daryl was. I think it was how he felt with Daryl was a bit without Rick as well, but
Yeah.
without Carol, I think that's the way he felt. Daryl felt, "What's the point?" And that's why all the stuff with Isabel and Laurent happened, because he was in such a low place and he thought he would never see Carol again. And so I think that Daryl really understands what Roberto feels in that moment, and that's why he's on Daryl's side. I mean, on Roberto's side. And then when he says, "What's the point of bringing him back if nothing has changed? He's just going to leave again." And I think with these flashbacks we're seeing of Daryl's childhood, this is what we are meant to be thinking about Daryl. That he thinks, if I go home again, it's just going to be the same as it ever was. And if we go back to Alexandria, how he didn't feel he fit in there, he didn't have a place, and he wasn't sure what his role was. And if they go back, Rick's going to be home by then. They don't know this, the characters don't know this, but we know this. And so he's not going to have that role as Judith and RJ's uncle. I mean, he would still be their uncle, but you know what I mean? They're not going to be his priority, his to look after, and he's not going to have a role. And I think he's feeling this, that if we go home, nothing has changed. I still don't have a purpose in life. I think that's what Daryl was looking for. He's looking for his purpose, whatever it is. So he really, when he's defending Roberto, he's talking about himself, and I really like that. I'm fed up of people talking to Daryl and we don't get his feelings. I like that this is Daryl talking and telling us something via another character, and I really like that.
Yeah. I like that too.
What's your number 5 of the best?
I'm getting silly with this one, but I can't help it. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. So I swear to God, and I tried to get I actually tried to get a picture of it. I actually tried to get a screen grab of it, and I could not get a decent one.
Okay.
I swear one of Los Primitivos had a doll's head hanging around his neck.
I think you did. I think you're right. I think I saw that. Yes.
And I just thought it was hilarious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to put something so trivial in my top 5,
No,
but I just
that's
thought
fine.
I thought it was hilarious.
That, if he's like, well, okay, I could put some teeth or a skull, but no, let's just put a doll's head. Because we all know doll's heads are one of the creepiest things on earth, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Actually, I was almost tempted to see if we had any like old dolls from my childhood or something back in the basement. Like I was gonna put one around my neck, but I'm like, no, I think those all stayed at my parents' house.
We need to be wearing in true Daryl style. We'll just have to get a necklace of ears, walker
Yes.
ears, so we can wear.
I do actually have one of those.
Oh, fabulous!
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is hooray! Daryl and Carol are having conversations. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I'm
Very nice.
so delighted that they had several conversations through this, and they were talking largely about other people, but just the fact that they are talking is such a breath of fresh air, and what I want is a Daryl and Carol chipper. And I don't care what they're talking about, just have them talking. Because when the idea of this spin-off came, my thought would be it would be them dealing with stuff together, and obviously they would have scenes separately with other people. That by very nature you would have to have that, but the majority would be them dealing with stuff together, and it felt like they were in this episode, unlike last week where they weren't. They were completely on 2 separate missions. So I really liked this, that it had their own bits with Carol with Antonio, Carol with Valentina, but we also, and Daryl with Roberto, but we had them together coming back and discussing what they were feeling and doing. And I really loved that. And the fact that Carol was being so open to Daryl about why don't you care about this? You should be caring. And he was still holding stuff back there, but we know that because he was like, oh, they all die, and revealing what he's thinking about. But at least it was a start. Let's have more of that. Hurrah!
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I actually at one point when they were having the conversation by the boat, and I'm looking for my arm keeps locking up, but I'm looking for the screenshot. When they were having the conversation by the boat, there it is. I actually kind of got a little hint of consumed vibes.
Yes,
Um,
yeah,
like when they were talking, it reminded me when they were talking about Noah
yes,
and what to do with him. He was chasing them, and he took his crossbow, and
yeah,
they're like, they both kind of saw the situation differently, and they're like,
yes,
one of them wanted to leave him, and the other wanted to try to save him, and I mean that situation was a little more interesting
Yeah.
It was a bit more layered, but yeah, no, it just kind of reminded me of that.
And if you go all the way back to season 2, Randall in the barn when Carol was saying to him, "Don't pretend you don't care."
Yeah,
That's really cool. Actually, I'm thinking that would make a very good gift set for someone. Those 3 times when Carol's saying to him, "You don't pretend you don't care about these young men's lives," and that's yeah, well done. You
yeah,
pointed that out, and I hadn't made that connection. So,
yeah, yeah.
hooray.
The second one was it was a little more interesting, the one in Consumed, because it was
Yeah.
like, I think Carol didn't Carol initially not wanna bother with him?
Yeah, but then once the whatever it was fell on him, Carol's like, "Come on, we've got to save him." And yeah, Daryl's
Yeah.
just smoking his cigarette and being like, "Leave him to die. I don't care."
Yeah,
Carol's
a
like,
and he was like, he was kinda doing it in a way that was challenging her,
"Yeah,
like,
yeah,
because he knew
yes,
that she
he had,
cared,
yes, exactly, yeah,
he wanted her to admit it.
yes, yes, exactly. That was exactly it. Um,
Um,
yeah. So what's your number 4?
my number 4 is, the doll had to get no, I'm kidding. Um, Carol making the comment that she tried living on her own and it wasn't for her.
Yes,
I loved that.
yes,
It shows so much growth.
it does. Yes,
Yeah. It's
I,
just
yeah. Because we saw the last time she sort of referenced it was with um the ghost of Alpha, wasn't it? When Alpha said something to her and she was like, "That's not what you want. That's not it." And so she's acknowledging now. Yeah, tried it, kept trying it, but it's not for me. So
yeah,
yeah, I agree. That was a good
yeah.
line.
I
Um,
liked it. I liked it a
yeah.
lot. It's just it's great, like, because we so rarely get anything like that
Hmm.
where you see that kind of growth from any character in the Walking Dead
Yeah,
universe, where they're,
yeah,
like, actually acknowledging it, that, they're not who they used to be, and
yeah.
I
I
appreciated
love
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is Paz being generally awesome. That whole fight scene with Paz going to help Roberto and her whip and whatever it was she threw, it looked to me like scissors, but I don't know, but it was, oh, it was just awesome. And as I say, I really tried to get screen captures, but everyone was just a blur. She was
Oh,
so
yeah.
fast, could not get any of them on shot. So I just love that we have this badass character that just goes in there and gets the job done. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
see what I
like,
mean? Yeah, that's the
that's about
best
the
I could
best.
get. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I love her, and again, as I said right at the start, I would watch a whole season around her. I just
Yeah,
She could have her own show. She's so charismatic, so interesting, and just has power on screen, and she's fantastic. Or they,
yeah,
I forgot about that. We said they last week, didn't we? Paz is meant to be like a version of Daryl, and but I feel like they've given Paz more depth in like what 4 episodes. Well, not even that because the first one was in England. 3 episodes that we took like Daryl 3 seasons to get. So I
yeah.
really love what they've done with Paz, and hope that there's lots more to come.
I love her too. Like, what's the actress's name?
Alexandra
Gay.
Massagate. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was, my brain was kind of fogging, but yeah, no, I think she's doing such a great job.
Yeah,
She really just does have so much charisma.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm really enjoying her. She's like, it's I actually put it on our title, our YouTube title for our last episode, that we recorded last week, but it's just the season for me is just all about the women.
yeah.
Like,
It really is.
I I just and that's kind of how it's always been for me in The Walking Dead. Like, the
Hmm.
female characters have always completely outshined the
Yeah,
male
me too.
characters.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely, I'm feeling it big time this season. Which is
yeah,
funny because, like, I just said the female characters have always kind of outshined the male characters, but in the Daryl Dixon spinoff for the past 2 seasons, it kind of didn't feel like that because
No.
I I loved Baloo and Quinn. I think those were
Yeah.
like my 2 favorite characters.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and I'm like, "What's happening? Why am I so invested in the guys?"
I think especially, Janae was really interesting, but I think they really underserved Isabel and Sylvie. They were just cut out nuns who fall in love with men as soon as they leave the walls and then die.
Sylvie, I
Yeah,
forgot about Sylvie. She was one of my
yeah.
favorites too.
I just felt. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
the past. What's your number 3?
I really love the French characters, I'm sorry. Um, my number 3 is, the Daryl's line, "The same mistake we're always making," was, like, the most ultimate meta moment in The
Yeah,
Walking Dead ever.
he's
Like,
talking straight to the audience.
I just have to wonder if when he and Melissa McBride got the scripts, if they laughed at that, if they had to laugh at that line at all, because just, like, this is your whole arc, guys.
Yeah,
You're
this is it. This is your whole show.
Since 2010, that that line sums up the 2 of you perfectly.
Yes. The
Or
Walking Dead, Daryl and Carol were always getting involved in other people's fights. We'll just make that the subtitle.
oh my god, seriously. Yeah, that was it.
That's good. My number 2 is Carol gets a female friend. Woohoo!
Hey,
How long have we had Carol talking to men? I'm so fed up of Carol talking to men, except Daryl, obviously. But here she has a woman roughly her age who is the same kind of vibes, maybe a bit more sexy vibes, but a bit more freewheeling. But I love that she's getting to interact with Valentina and talk to her properly about her life and say stuff like, I tried being alone, it didn't work for me, all that stuff. I love that. It's been a long time coming, and I hope it continues. Please let Carol have female friends she can talk to, and instead of Morgan and Rick and Jerry and
yeah.
Aaron and all the male friends she had. And how often did we see her? It was like season 8 before she actually spoke a line to Michonne directly, which
That's
was
ridiculous.
shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so completely
It might have
ridiculous.
even been later than that. I don't remember season 8 very well. I
No, I think, like,
blanked out most of that.
I don't think it was but
It definitely
yeah.
wasn't before it, but yeah, it was either 8 or it might even have been 9 when, but I don't know. But it was a long time, and we were meant to think of them as sort of sisters in the group kind of thing. But how would we know, because they never interacted? So
Yeah.
hurrah for giving Carol a friend.
I always, I always kinda low key shipped the 2 of them together because I was so, like, I always found
Because they
the
were,
whole shipping discourse with Carol and Rochelle so despicable.
yeah.
I kinda low key shipped the 2 of them. Like, just get them together and send them off on their own give them their spin-off.
Yes.
They're sick of the guys, and, they don't even have to, like, be a couple. Just,
No.
you know,
Just yeah.
make them
No,
just
I'm
friends
with
who
you.
are done with men, and they just wanna hang out together.
Because they've got all the power and all the charisma. They certainly don't need the men, but
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
that would be very good.
Yeah. Okay, Carol and Michonne, honestly, that's a duo that could probably bring back civilization all on their own.
Yep, exactly. They don't need anybody else. They just come home and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we've restored civilization to the rest of the world. Just thought you'd like to know."
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
I could totally see them I could see them working the good cop, bad cop thing
Yes,
really well together too, and, like,
yes.
kind of switching off like between that and yeah, I could see that working out really well. Damn it.
We're just making our own shows up now.
Yeah, ooh, hey, maybe that's why it's ending in season 4 because
Maybe.
Daryl's gonna die and Rick's gonna die off screen. The star of the Walking Dead universe is gonna die off screen. And Carol is gonna get back home and find Michonne back, and she's the only one left alive, and the two of them are just gonna
Go off
bring
and
back civilization.
yeah. It would be funny if it was like they have a season where they all meet up. You know, everybody's talking about that a reunion with the 6 from the spin-offs all meet up, and then they all just leave with it somebody different.
Yeah.
That would be so good. So it's like Maggie and Rick,
Yes.
Carol and Michonne, and Negan and Daryl. That's the new spin-off.
I fully support it. I'm here for it. Yes, especially if it keeps Maggie and Negan away from each other. Thank you.
Yes. Oh dear.
By the way,
Okay.
I'm so oh my god, the latest Dead City casting announcement
Yes.
freaking killed me. First they add Amy Garcia, who I love,
Yeah.
and now Jimmy Simpson. And I'm like, you're adding are you trying to send a message to me personally that you need me to watch the show? What are you doing to me? I love Jimmy Simpson. Oh my god, I adore him. I I mean, I'm used to him as like an over the top comedic actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what
What
his
is
I have no
yeah.
idea what his role is going to be in this, but I mean, he is like for anybody who listens to us or watches us who has never watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that's like one of my favorite shows, and he's the best thing about it. Well, him and Danny DeVito are kind of tied for that, but oh my god, he's just so brilliantly funny. He plays one of the weirdest characters on earth, but he's just so funny. Sorry, I don't mean to go on a sunny tangent. Jazz and I do this all the time because we're both obsessed with that show. But he
Yeah.
wears an eye patch because he lost an eye at a in this wedding episode, and he wears an eye patch with an eye on it. And it looks completely ridiculous, and I adore Jimmy Simpson, and I would probably watch anything he's in, so I think I may need to watch Dead City
Yeah.
again. Anyway, where were we?
Yes, where were we? Number 2 in your best.
Okay. My number 2 was, I honestly, just it seems a little, like, surface level and trivial to put this up so high, but, I just really loved the fireballs and the ballistas. I thought they were so fun. As much as I
Yeah.
just said I don't like action, that shit is just cool.
I thought it was really good that they had the catapult so far away, because I thought, what are they going to do? It's just going to be the other side of the wall or something. I thought, oh no, that's quite good. And I'm assuming that's what the nets in the trees were for. That when Daryl and Carol walked past, because you've got a big bag of you just sling it in your catapult, set fire to it, and go. That's
Yeah.
forward thinking. That is. Well
Yeah.
done.
It was
Well
and
done to
I
them.
thought it was really I thought the shots were really effective of it,
They
like,
were.
in the distance, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Super cool.
It was. Yeah.
Just like, I had to go back and watch that again because I
Yeah.
thought it was really kinda awesome.
I'm looking forward. I'm sure they'll do some of the behind the scenes on about that stuff.
By
How
the
they
way
achieve that.
that whole, sequence was honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen in any trailer. Um, when, the trailer for this season, when they were, with the House of Rising Sun, the Spanish
Yeah.
version, and the gunfire and everything, they they, like, matched the beat
Yes.
And it was just so cool. It sounded like the gunfire was part of the
The song, yeah.
an instrument in the song. It sounded like it was part of the song. It was so awesome.
They did a
If you
great job.
didn't notice that, go back and watch the trailer, because
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Yeah. So my number one is, I've already covered it, so I don't need to go into detail. Is Valentina asking about what their relationship is? Great, thank goodness. Also, it was awful, but it was really good. I'm really glad they asked it. I'll just say Carol's look at the end, that she's contemplating it and she looks back. That gives me a bit of hope. Everything else, okay, all they were saying was they have never in the past. Doesn't mean they won't in the future. So
Yeah.
that's fine. But I've long wanted them to discuss their relationship on screen, and that was the best we've had of it so far. My standard is very low.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that was my number one too, and it was mostly because of the way Valentina said it. It was like
Yes,
she was so incredulous. She was like, "Really?
yeah,
That
really.
really? You're gonna try to kid me right now?"
Yeah.
Um,
I like that because obviously she's in the. I don't think we've mentioned this in the behind the scenes for last week's episode when we were introduced to Valentina and her two friends. The actress said that's her two best friends that she lives with. So it's just a kind of situationship they've got going on. So she's obviously like, why would you be traveling the world with a guy and not be sleeping with him? What's wrong with you? I really like that her attitude is, of course you're going to be having sex. Oh,
I
I
mean,
love that.
okay. In all honesty, and I'll keep going about this because this was actually my number one too.
Yeah,
Um, in all honesty, it was actually kind of rude. But,
yeah,
like, she doesn't know. I mean, they could both be gay or like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um, but so yeah, it was actually kind of rude. But in this context,
Hmm.
um, like it it was very much appreciated because quite honestly, whether you ship Carol and Daryl or not, that's kind of the general reaction
Yeah,
from the audience. Like,
yeah,
or so many times on social media, I'll see people that no longer watch them. They'll be like, "What the hell? You mean they haven't gotten together yet?"
yeah. There's been so many of them recently,
Yeah,
and especially the screenshots from the nighttime boat scene of Daryl and Carol from episode one, and people are like, "They're not a couple. What are you
yeah,
talking about?"
right.
So yeah. So if you met Daryl and Carol as real people, you would absolutely assume, oh yeah, they're doing it, just
Without
like
a doubt.
Valentina, you know.
Without a
Um,
doubt.
so it's a realistic reaction to them, And yes, she's rude because I think she's meant to be quite rude and like says things inappropriately. Um, so that kind of fits with her character that she'd be just like poking her nose in.
Yeah.
But it's realistic that if they're similar age, they're from what she can tell matching sexualities and gender sexualities. So she'd be like, well, why would you be? I'm doing it with my friend. Why wouldn't you do it with your friend? I'm not asking if you're married.
Like, do you not understand that this is what's the normal thing? You fuck all your friends. I mean, I thought everybody did that. She's a theater person.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
That's it.
just ready to say she clearly was in the theatre. That's exactly what I was going to say. Oh dear. Yes,
Yeah.
because we know what theatre people are like.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I was a theater person for many years. All the stereotypes, all the rumors are true about theater people.
And I think
People
she's
love drugs and sex. Party drugs and sex.
I think it's what it's doing is taking away. There's been this preciousness about Daryl and Carol, and especially Daryl, that Daryl has to love somebody to be involved with them and whatever, but she doesn't know that obviously, and this kind of pokes through it that like Why are you making such a big deal about it? It's the apocalypse. Nobody cares
Yes.
anymore about weddings, about paperwork, about rules of society. We all might die tomorrow. Let's just sex it up with whoever you fancy. And that's obviously her attitude. So she doesn't understand why this pair of very uptight Americans are
Yes.
there. They're like, ooh, don't talk about that.
After we started making out with both of those guys last week, it would have been hilarious if when they parted ways, she laid one on both of them.
It becomes like Chandler in that episode of Friends where he accidentally kisses Monica, so he's got to kiss everybody else.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That's so funny. I
Oh
love it.
dear. Yes. So I mean, I find it really entertaining. I know it's going to cause a whole lot of hell on social media, and people are going to be using it against carolers forever. But as a taking that out of the equation, as a person watching it, I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, did you have anything to add before
I
we get
don't
on
think
here?
so. I think that's it. I think I'm just saying, batten down the hatches, Carlos. Lock down your Twitter account. And I don't think it means anything in terms of Carol and Daryl as a ship, other than that they're at least addressing it's a possibility, which they've never really done in through a character like that, other than Negan calling Carol Daryl's girlfriend. So I think in that sense it's positive. And as I say, all they're doing is saying, no, we never have. Not that they never will. And it wasn't ruled out like, oh no, we're like family. That would be gross, or nothing like that was said. So in that sense, it's good. And
I
that
mean, I was just rambling on about It's Always Sunny.
mm,
Um, Even Dee and Charlie hooked up, which that was super weird because if you want to talk about two characters that are like, that are that are pretty much like family and should never hook up. That even happened. Of course, it later turned into Charlie denying it completely. But yeah, it's funny. So yeah, I'm gonna start using that as my example of saying if it hasn't happened by now, it never will.
yeah,
Dee and Charlie.
yeah.
um, but Dawn, let everybody know where else they can find you.
You can find me on the custardtv.com, where I'm currently reviewing Slow Horses every week. Watch Slow Horses if you haven't; it is brilliant. And I'm on their podcast where we talk about 4 new shows every week. Well, not every week, but most weeks. And I'm also on Made for TV, MEID, which is our podcast discussing the issues of television, and particularly as it relates to women in TV and other minorities. And you can find me on the hellscape we call Twitter at Dawn Glen 2 if you want to come at me and give me your opinion on what I've said. That's fine. I will listen to any constructive criticism. Criticism. I'm not drunk.
um, and you can also find Dawn on the Antler Queens podcast covering Yellow Jackets,
Mm-hmm.
and on here covering Yellow
Severance.
Jackets, Severance, and soon From and Buffy.
Yeah.
Um, you're slowly making your way into all of our podcasts. we're just trickling a little bit of Dawn just
Yeah.
gradually across the rest of our podcast. And I'm always here. I'm Kelly. I am also on the Cyborg Queen Media podcast and the Antler Queens, which we are both on. We were starting to do this whole separate podcast thing for each show for a while, but we just decided to cover Yellow Jackets and Dexter on the Antler Queens, and then everything else on the new Cyborg Queen podcast. So check us out either way there. We are on the Believe Network, but you can the Antler Queens is on the Believe Network, but you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And we are trying to stick to a schedule very soon where we have some kind of content every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Um, Taking a little mini break right now and only covering this while Jazz and Steve are covering Alien Earth podcast because, it's just too hard to do anything right now. And this is kind of interrupting with we wanted to kind of have this plan of going live every Sunday regardless. And this is kind of, making that hard to do that, but I don't anticipate that that issue coming up too often. So um, we will have content every Sunday regardless, but it just might not be live. But after the season, then we'll be going back to regular Sunday night lives. And that's it. Have a great week, everybody. Please comment. It really helps us in the algorithm. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do a contest. If we get just 10 comments, 10 separate comments from 10 separate people on this video, I will do a giveaway. I mean, it won't be a huge giveaway. It'll just be for something small, but it'll be something you'll appreciate. 10 comments, we'll do a random drawing of everybody who leaves a comment, and we'll send you something cool. Doesn't matter where you live because it'll be a virtual thing. So, and with that, we are out, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.